What is going on, everybody? It is Fitz Miller and the Skyline back here with another video. And let me just say, it feels so good to say that. This car has been gone for a minute, and I thought I would come out here today and film a proper walk around. It's probably been 3 years. I think the last complete walkthrough that I've done of this car was right when I picked it up after I got it home from Florida. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Without further ado, let's get right into today's video. This is my 1992 Nissan Skyline GTS4. Oh yes sir! Yes sir! As you guys can see, one of the biggest differences between this video and the last walk around I made is that it is a different color. I recently just got it painted Millennium Jade Green. This is the original JW0 paint code that came out with the R34s, I believe, and let me just say, I am absolutely loving the way it looks on my 32. Here in the front, we have almost a full GTR front end. Starting with the fenders, we have GTR fenders, and I think they're somewhere like 15-20 millimeters wider, so it's nothing too crazy, but it definitely helps me to run wider wheels or a more aggressive fitment in the front. We also have a GTR front bumper as well as a lip for the GTR front bumper. I think this bumper on the sedan just looks really good. It's not something you see too often. A lot of BN kits, a lot of Urus kits, a lot of big aggressive kits, and that is what I wanted to go with initially, especially before I got it painted, but unfortunately that didn't work out. So we are running the GTR front end. I also have GTR corner lights, which you have to run with the fender and the bumper. The only piece I'm really missing is the hood. This is not a GTR hood, it's a sedan hood. You can see it comes down over the front of the car, and I don't have that little grill insert, and I don't remember if that's for the GTSTs or the GTRs, but this is the front of the car. The hood I'm running is just some aftermarket fiberglass hood, came with this VIN in it, and I really love the way this thing looks. It's aggressive, but it's also subtle, and it's just a nice touch to the front of this car. Coming around the side, sitting in the sunlight, you can really see this color to its full extent. We are running Vertex skirts on both sides of this thing. Nothing too crazy, not too aggressive, definitely more aggressive than the stock, but these fiberglass skirts fit very well, and there's something I'll probably have on the car for a long time. For mirrors, we're running the GK Tech Special $95 shipped. They fit great. I can actually see behind me, and that's all I really need. Would I like to have had Ganna doors? Absolutely. Did I want to spend $1,500 on Ganna doors? Absolutely not. For my wheel and tire setup, we are running AVS Model T5s on some 245/35s, I believe. It's a meatier setup than what I normally run, but we're going to wear them down for now since the tires came on the wheel. Working our way around to the rear of this car, I have a random rear bumper cover. I don't know what this thing is off of or what it's made for or anything like that. Everybody asks me where I get it, and I have no idea because it came on the car. Besides the rear bumper cover, in the rear we have these Style 2 tails where you guys can see this body line right under the trunk also continues through the taillights. That's something I've always thought was really cool. Huge shout out to Nick for letting me know I had those. We're also running blast pipes in the rear. I'm pretty sure this thing is full straight. I do have a catalytic converter in the middle, but we measured the temperature a long time ago on the cat and the exhaust around the cat, and they're the same temperature. So I think my cat is gutted, making this a full straight pipe. A lot of people hate that these cars have rear wipers, and the car actually didn't come with one when I got it, so I went out of my way, paid like $70 for the damn wiper arm, got a wiper, and since we got a sedan, dude, I want the practicality that comes with having a sedan, and for me, that's keeping the rear wiper. I don't think it looks too bad, doesn't stick out too much, and I have a rear wiper in the rain, which I think is pretty sick. One of the last things on the outside of the 32 is gonna be my tint. I have 5% all the way around except for the windshield, which I have 20%. It's very dark. I absolutely love it. I would run this on all my vehicles if I could. Now for the suspension on this vehicle. For coilovers, I'm running the D2s. They were 800 bucks. They're a good medium performance, half track day, half daily drivability coilover. For me, they've been great. I think they're like 8Ks and 6Ks, so they're pretty soft, definitely softer than I'd want. But for daily drivability, as well as track days, the coilovers have done amazing. In the front here, we have GK Tech uppers, and for lower arms, we have welded extended lowers. That was done by Mike Cunning Fab. Go check him out. Since I have front camber here, I think it's looks like -7, -8. I did go ahead and get extended inners with stock outers. I have the GK Tech extended inners and then the stock GTR outers. Yes, GTR outers. If you guys didn't know, this being a GTS4, it used to be all-wheel drive, so it shares a lot of the drivetrain and other components with a GTR. In the rear, we're also running the D2s with GK Tech adjustable uppers and lowers. Now, they've been pretty good to me over the last 2-3 years. I did have to replace my lower ball joints. I really think Piedmont, a couple of those track days just beat this car to shit. So other than the ball joints and rebuilding the front ones, it's been great. I've gotten plenty of camber, plenty of adjustability, plenty of comfort out of these arms. For the brakes in the front and rear, I'm running PMU pads and rotors. They're 2-piece, they're super sweet. They came on the car. I wish I could say I got them or found them, but they're sweet. It's actually time for me to do pads, so keep a lookout for one of the next couple videos, me doing pads on this car. The last kind of suspension upgrade or component I have done to this car, I don't know if you guys remember this thing missing for like 6 months at a time, but one of those 6 months at a time was when my rack blew and I couldn't find a replacement. So I sent it to Koru Works to be rebuilt. It got powder coated purple, which looks so sick. I got braided lines, new fittings, new everything for the rack. And then we got Super Pro bushings. I forgot what the actual name is, but they're like a deep purple and they look sweet as well. In the rear, I think I might have a more aggressive differential. It's definitely limited slip, but I don't know if it's a Nismo limited slip. It just feels more aggressive than other GTSTs I've driven, and that could be due to a couple different factors, but it could also be my differential. Now it is time for you guys to see the interior of this car. It has been maintained very well over the last 28-30 years of its life, and that is something I'm really thankful for. For seats, my driver's seat is a Recaro Evo MR2, I believe. Maybe a Evo 2, I don't quite remember, but for daily drivability as well as road trips, this thing is the best bucket seat I could have picked out myself. It is very comfortable, it is very spacious. If you guys are looking at getting a bucket seat, I would absolutely recommend this one. For my passenger seat, I have an R32 GTR seat. It's pretty comfortable, it's okay. It's definitely a little bit stiffer, a little bit thinner than my Recaro. I'm pretty sure I've been spoiled with this thing, but as a nice OEM plus bucket seat, the GTR seat absolutely kills it. Little quirk that I didn't know for a long time is that I have R34 floor mats, kind of cool, OEM plus. So now we're in the car. I have a Thrash Racing I Love You pink wheel. I wanted this wheel for the longest time. It finally came back in stock a couple months ago, and I had to get it. We're running a We Are Likewise shifter, and I don't know if you guys remember, but I used to have the crazy extension on here, but it just made shifting feel like dog shit, honestly, and this feels so much better. I don't know how I feel about the purple and the pink and the green now. With the white, it was kind of cool, but I might be getting a different shifter or a different wheel in the future. For my cluster, I actually have an old logo Nismo cluster in here, so yes, this car is unconfirmed miles. I knew that when I bought it. It ran and drove. I had them do a compression test, and honestly, the car has been fine, and it's been fine for the last 3 years, so that's a risk I was willing to take. In my case, it was most definitely worth it. To the right of our steering wheel, we have an HKS boost gauge. Thing's sweet, lights up at night, does everything I needed to do. The back seats are just stock, and they're some of the comfiest OEM back seats that I've ever sat my ass in my life. All time ever, some of my favorites. In the ceiling, they're not currently plugged in since I just got this car back from paint, but we also went ahead and dyed the roof liner black, as well as did the starlit ceiling. That is one of my favorite mods. It was one of the most tedious mods I've done to this car. That plus the tint just makes this one of the best environments to drive in, to sit in, to hang out in, do whatever you want in here really, but the starlit ceiling was a great touch. That was cheap, semi-easy, and I would absolutely do it again. For my radio, I do have a Pioneer single den with a little spacer cubby thing below it, and all my HVAC stuff is stock. For the last interior piece, in the rear here, I have a rear sway bar. I actually have two. One right behind the back seats, and then one right at the rear of the car. With me sliding this car in the past, it definitely stiffened up the rear end, made it a little bit easier to swing out. It just gave me more control over this car in general. It didn't feel soft, didn't feel wiggly. Felt like a nice, solid slab. Now, for all my RB fanboys out there, myself included, I'm gonna show you under the hood. This is my mostly stock RB20 DET. This thing has been nothing but reliable for the last 3.5 years. If you guys have not been with me since the beginning of having this car, I drove this car home 13 hours home from Florida. Flew to Florida, signed some papers, got this thing and drove it back home. This thing has been nothing but reliable for the last 3 years motor-wise, and that is something I am so grateful for. So all you guys who don't like RBs, think about it, man. Just think about it. Anytime this car has fucked up on me or messed up on me, it's because of something that I did. Suspension wise, drifting the car, normal driving, this thing just wouldn't have broken. We have a little HKS pod filter down here. We have a full Greddy intercooler kit, and I think the piping is like 2.5, 3 inch. It's bigger than what Carmelo had on his 32, and the turbo flutter we get out of this thing is insane. Here's my blow-off valve. It's actually blocked right now, and it's been blocked since I got the car. A lot of you guys are already angrily typing, "Oh my god, don't do that, it's bad for the turbo." We're on your theory of me owning it and it being blocked. Thing's fine. At the end of the day, new turbo is like 400 bucks and we could knock it out if we needed to. We have a Japanese international standard battery. All that means is it just comes with these smaller terminals which fit the OEM Japanese connections. This is an AGM battery. It's lasted me again almost 3 years now, and it's definitely something I would look into if you guys want a strong battery, a small battery, a light battery, and if you have an import, a battery that fits your connections. We got a Hot Boy Blitz radiator cap. That's always been one of my favorite pieces on this car. Down here near the intake, you guys can see a custom vent. So the air actually funnels in here through this side of the bumper. This bumper is functional. It feeds the air up through this little tunnel and then goes straight to our air filter. Other than that, small hoses, small caps. But like I said before, this thing is mostly stock and I intend to keep it that way. The last piece that I forgot to cover on this car would be my headlight cover. I did make a YouTube video on this a couple months ago. This was my first time working with Bondo and fiberglass and all that, and it's a 5-footer item for sure, but it definitely adds a level of, like, look at this thing, a level of uniqueness that you're not going to see on other cars, let alone other R32s. So I think it's time to get this thing started, give you guys an exhaust clip, couple rev, and then wrap up the video. I love that this exhaust is pretty rowdy, pretty throaty. It's also pretty toned for being a straight pipe. Couldn't ask for this thing to sound any better than it does. And one of my favorite parts about this car, this is actually one of the reasons why I got the car, is the turbo flutter. You guys ready for this? This sounds insane. Since we had already agreed on a price when I went down to Florida, I was free to geek out over this thing as much as I wanted. And as soon as I heard that turbo flutter in person, I was sold. Signed the papers and immediately took this thing home. All right, y'all, well, that is gonna be it for today's video. If you guys have any questions about this car or for me or how to get into one of these cars or anything like that, please be sure to go down in the comments, type your question out and let me know. I'll be more than happy to get back to each and every one of you guys. And I enjoy this car. The fact that you guys enjoy this car, it really means a lot to me. So I'd like to give back and help out wherever I can. The funny part is this guy he can't see in here at all, dude. Get a selfie with this guy? Okay, I'm done. Dog, I wish it was turned off. I wish the car was turned off. But yeah. All right, so it turned out that guy was really cool. His name was Greg. He has an NB, and I probably talked to him for a solid 20 minutes. And then another guy, Michael, came up and said hello. So if you guys are watching this, hello. Thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing. But for real, it was really nice. I just hung out and talked to them for like 30 minutes. That's another reason why I love this car, dude. It's just how happy it makes other people. And this car makes me super happy when I see it. It sparks up conversations for me. So the fact that I get to share that with other people is absolutely amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Fitz Miller, the R32, back here with another video. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.